All right. So this is the review for the quiz. So this is first thing they're going to have in the quiz is you're going to have to consider a function, and then you're going to have to factor the numerator and the denominator completely. So the first portion, the top portion, the numerator here, the numerator is the difference of two squares. So I would take the square root of x, get x, right? Square root of x squared equals x. And then I take the square root of 4, and it's 2, it's plus or minus 2. So my numerator factors to x plus 2 times the quantity of x minus 2. On the bottom, I'm looking for two numbers. They multiply to negative 10. They add up to negative 3. So I could, of course, look at 1 and 10 and then ask myself, do I need a positive number or a negative number? The bigger number should be negative to produce a negative number. That doesn't work, so I go to the next number. 2 and 5, the bigger number needs to be negative to produce the negative number. So I have 2 and 5 here, so x plus 2 times x minus 5. What it does not ask you to do, it does not ask you to cancel anything out. So this is going to be worth 2 points. 2 points. So I have my factored form of this polynomial, this rational actually, and worth 2 points on my quiz. Secondly, so the bottom and the top have to be factored. Secondly, it says look at the factored function you wrote. What values of x would make the denominator equal to 0? These are called excluded values. So before I start canceling anything out, everything on the bottom is going to include the factors on the bottom going to point me to the right direction for my excluded values. So I'm just going to write my two factors out. I have x plus 2. If I solved for x, x would equal negative 2. And then I have x plus 5. If I solved for x, x would equal negative 5. All right. Oh, sorry. That's x minus 5. My factor is x minus 5. So x equals positive 5. All right. So my excluded value would be those factors we pull from the factors on the bottom. That's going to be x equals negative 2, parentheses, x equals 5. Now, what is the domain based on those excluded values? So the domain can be written based on excluded values that you found in step 2. What is the domain of this function? It's going to be negative infinity over to my first excluded value. All right. So first excluded value is negative 2. Then I create a union. Because there's 2, I have to do the x values from one excluded value to the other. So negative 2 over to 5, union. Then 5 over to positive infinity. Every excluded value from step 2 is either a whole or a vertical asymptote. Wholes, do any factors cancel in the factored function in step 1? These give you the x values. So the factored function in step 1, if I go back up, I have x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 2, x plus 5. So x plus 2, parentheses, x minus 2, divided by the quantity of x plus 2 times x minus 5. What cancels is this. So I'm using this factor, the cancel factor, to figure out what x equals. X equals negative 2. So here, my x value is negative 2. They already give me y. If I wanted to calculate what y was, I would get it from x minus 2 over x minus 5. You could insert the x value, which is negative 2, over negative 2, and you're subtracting 2 at the top, you're subtracting 5 at the bottom. This will give me 4 over 7. So these are my excluded values. That's where they got this portion from. All right. So far we have 2 points here, 2 points there. Okay. What about asymptotes? What is my vertical asymptote? Well, whatever is left after you cancel out any factors that relate to the whole, you're going to use the factor that's left on the bottom to figure out what your vertical asymptote is. It's x equals positive 5. X equals positive 5. Okay? Now, horizontal asymptotes. We look at the original function prior to factoring. What is the degree of the numerator? Okay, so my original function prior to factoring is, I'm going to rewrite it down here, x squared minus 4 divided by x squared minus 3x minus 10, x squared minus 3x minus 10. And they're asking me to look at the original function. What is the degree of the numerator? What is the degree of the leading coefficient? It is 2. It's a 2-degree polynomial at the top in the numerator. What is the degree of the leading coefficient in the bottom? It's a 2-degree polynomial. If they are the same, which is bigger? Or are they both the same? They're the same. Okay? So that's 3 points right there. That's 3 points. Says which is bigger? You're either going to write neither is bigger or the same, they're the same, or you're going to write the numerator or the denominator. So if they are the same, find the ratio of the leading coefficients. What is the number in front of here? What is the number in front of the leading coefficient in the bottom? It's 1 and 1. So the ratio would be numerator over denominator equals 1 over 1. So my horizontal asymptote is y equals 0. If the degree of the denominator is greater than the degree of numerator, then the horizontal asymptote is 0. This is not true, so it's not applicable. What does the horizontal asymptote tell you about the function? Well, it could tell you a lot of different things. It could tell you the range. You have an option. The range. Tell you the range. The range goes from negative infinity up to the horizontal asymptote. Perhaps do 1 here. It stops at 1, continues back up, goes to positive infinity. The end behavior, it tells you about the end behavior. End behaviors. So the end behaviors are that when x goes to positive infinity, the y values, f of x, go to that horizontal asymptote. And when x goes to negative infinity, the y values go to that horizontal asymptote. So it tells you about the range, tells you about the end behavior of the function. Next, it says given the indicated graphical characteristics, what is the function family? Well, we're in the unit for rationals, so the function family here is rationals. What is the equation of a parent function? It's f of x equals 1 over x. What are the excluded values of this function? Okay, so the excluded values, well, I'm just going to go and identify the first excluded value. You could look at your what's in the denominator here. Using that factor, I have an excluded value of x minus 3. I don't really see any holes because I can't cancel anything out. Now, asymptotes, x equals positive 3. Now I look at the degree at the top. It's a 0 degree polynomial at the top, and it's 1 degree at the bottom. So automatically, if I look before at the bottom of the page, if the degree is smaller at the top, then my asymptote is y equals 0. All right, so here it's y equals 0. And I'm just going to go to make a note here, because that's going to tell me, sorry, not y equals 0. Not y equals 0. Let's be careful here. It's, you have to be careful. So y equals 0 minus 1. So minus 1 right there. So we want to be careful. And you can identify it on the graph. I almost made a mistake there. So y equals negative 1. It's not 0. It's negative 1. Okay? My domain is negative infinity over to positive 3 union 3 to positive infinity. My range is negative infinity up to negative 1 union negative 1 infinity. My zeros, I'm going to erase these asymptotes here, see if I can see where it crosses the x-axis, and it crosses right here at 1. So x equals 1. That means my x-intercept is the point. It is the coordinate. It is the coordinate 1, 0. My y-intercept, if there is one, it's right here at, I'm just going to plug in, I'm going to plug the number in to get that y-intercept. So 4 over 0 plus 3 minus 1, 4 over 3. And I want to combine those, 1 over 3. So my y-intercept is 0 over 1/3. So make a little note, plug in 0 for x to get the y-intercept, okay? And simplify. Intervals of increasing, it's never increasing. It's the y values are always decreasing from the left to the right. So I'm just going to repeat the domain. So it's never increasing. But for the domain, the values of decrease go, it's just a repeat of the domain. My end behavior goes up to negative 1. We're headed to the right, and it goes to negative 1. We're headed to the left. Now, how many points is that worth? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 points here. And then an additional 3 over here. 3 to 4, depending on what you have to work with. So, 4 over x plus 3 minus 1. So, the big number at the top signifies that there's a vertical stretch of 6 units, okay? 6 units. Then it moves left 3 units, slides left 3 units, and then it slides down 1 unit. One version of the quiz will have a negative in front. And if there was a negative in front, you would be reflecting over the x-axis. Reflecting over the x-axis. Lastly, everybody will have a version of this. Your job here is to factor all polynomials. Okay? So if I factored all the polynomials and I rewrote this, I would have x plus 2 times x plus 2 at the top over negative 2. Remember, we factor out any negatives. Negative 6 divided by negative 2 is 3. Negative 2x divided by negative 2 is positive 1x. Okay? And then on the bottom, factoring, looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 2, add up to positive 1, and I have x plus 2 times x minus 1 at the top, divided by x plus 3. Now, the second step, we factored. We want to put this in a multiplicative form. So put in, or just say, this is what we'll say. Get rid of the big division. The big division. What is the big division? That's this line here, okay? So we do that by keeping the top, the numerator, the same, and taking the reciprocal of the denominator. So x plus 2 times x plus 2 over negative 2 times, we're going to flip that around, x term first, plus x times x plus 3, right? Then we're multiplying. We change this division to multiplication. We get the reciprocal here. We flip the fraction over. We have x plus 2 times x minus 1. All right, now we're in a place where we can cancel factors. So x plus 3 cancels. X plus 2 cancels, only 1, and I'm left with equals x plus 2 divided by negative 2 parentheses x minus 1. I simplify. The negative comes to the middle, so I have negative x plus 2 over 2 times x minus 1. This equals x plus 2 over 2x. Make sure my negatives clear out there. Minus 2. And there's my final answer. It's a lot of work to get to this. So things I'm looking for. Did you factor? That's 2 points. Did you cancel? That's 2 points. Did you get the correct answer? That's 2 points. Now, that's a total of 6 points over there. All right? So this whole page is worth 22 points. The page before is worth, let's see, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3. So 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 11, plus 1 right there, 12. And then 3 different things, the range, the end behavior, and of both sides. So that's 15 points total for this quiz. If you don't practice these problems, you'll be taking an extensive amount of time. The expectation is, with my explanation, that you'll have 20 minutes to take this quiz. I would review and make sure that you know how to factor, make sure you know what poles look like, Make sure you can see horizontal asymptotes. You know the difference between the different types of horizontal asymptotes. Make sure that you're able to answer question C. And then on the back, graphical characteristics will be on there, as well as being able to divide two polynomials. Have a great day. That's your quiz.